Hey everybody, welcome back to my neck of the woods. Tonight I'm working on the treats to go in the little tins for Friendsmas. So I'm going to make Oreo truffles. I started with one large pack of Oreos that I ground fine in my blender, two softened bars of cream cheese. I'm going to mix this up to make kind of the truffly center. And just like that, they're all ready to go into the freezer for a little bit to harden up. It makes it much easier to coat them in the almond bark. I use my little cookie scoop to make them uniform in size. While the truffles are chilling in the freezer, I'm going to go ahead and get my double boiler set up. I just use a pot with my Pyrex dish because it's tempered glass. I always start with just one block of my almond bark. I add a little bit of some kind of oil, like a vegetable shortening or coconut oil. You could probably even use a little olive oil, but it gives it a much nicer sheen when they harden. So the truffles look more professional instead of this matte finish. So this should be melted down pretty good by the time the truffles come out of the freezer. Okay. Our truffles are nice and firm. I like to go a consistency that's probably just a little bit firmer than brand new Play-Doh. And I'll show you why. And then double boiler. I've got this all melted down. It's ready to go. Once I get it melted, I turn it down to low because you don't want this to start to cook in your bowl because it gets real grainy. The method I prefer, if you get them a little bit more frozen, is to use a wooden skewer. And I'll show you one because this is not going to be easy to do one-handed. But when they are more firm, you can just stick your skewer in just a little bit, just enough that it'll hold it while you dip. And it'll stay on the skewer. And then I may have stuck him in just a little too far. You can kind of twist it out. But if you don't go in too far, then usually they'll just plop right off. I prefer this method over forks. A lot of people use forks but I just feel like it's hard to get the excess off, and a lot of times it kind of drags lines through it, and I like them to be nice and shiny and clean. Sorry guys, holding the camera with one hand and doing this is not easy. And on another note, I'm very excited that I have some new equipment, and I'm gonna get that worked out over the weekend. So I have stands, and I can actually use both my hands and not have to be right up on the project. Alrighty. They are all coated. I put them back in the freezer for a little bit while I got the tins ready. I just cut a little square of parchment to put in there to keep them off the bottom of the tin. So I'm going to go ahead and package these up, get them back in the fridge. They have cream cheese, so I don't feel comfortable leaving them sitting out. If you want to be meticulous, you can also take the skewer and put a dab of almond bark in the holes to fill those up. I started to, but they got kind of ugly. I mean, that one turned out okay, but anyway, I decided that my friends don't care if there's a little pokey hole in the top, so I'm not going to go through that process. But do as you wish. And if you want them to be thicker, some people like a nice candy coating, you can actually Sorry, my husband's on the phone in the background. You can go ahead and dip them a second time, and then let them cool again, and it'll give you a thicker coating of the candy bark. So I'm going to get these packaged up, and then I'm going to show you a little tip for not wasting your almond bark. Alrighty, so I had a little bit of the bark left, and it doesn't have to be thrown away. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to cover the bowl. It's freezer safe. After it cools down, I'm going to stick it in the freezer, and then, because I still have more candy making to do, so I will definitely use this. What I'll do is, the day that I'm going to make the candy, I'll pull it out, because I don't want to put this right on top of my pot of water and start boiling it if it's frozen, but I'll let it warm up to room temperature a little bit, and then it'll melt again, just like the first time. So, yeah, so if you have a little bit left over, don't throw it away. You can use it for another project. And if you see, this is another little thing that I do to make them fall off of the skewer easier. Every 3 or so, you're going to have a little bit of the truffle on your skewer, and I wipe it off. That way, it'll fall off the skewer a lot easier. Okay. Time for advent calendar for day 19. Candy apple body lotion. I can't remember. I know I got a candy apple something. I can't remember what, but good.